Have you ever woken up in the morning, swung your legs off the side of the bed, and as soon as your feet touched the floor, there it was? That dull, nagging ache in your heel, or maybe a sharp little sting in the ball of your foot that made you wince and hesitate before taking that first step. It's easy to brush it off, isn't it? I must have slept wrong, or it's probably just age. You move around a bit, and when it eases, you forget it ever happened, until it shows up again the next day, and the day after that. That's exactly how it started for Walter. Walter is 75 and a half, as he proudly reminds his grandkids. He's the kind of man who still insists on mowing his own lawn, washing his own car, and walking to the corner store each morning just to say hello to the folks at the counter. Independent, proud, active. He always has been. But something changed last fall. He told me, almost offhandedly, about this tiny pinch in his heel. Felt like I had a pebble in my shoe, he said, shrugging. Didn't think much of it. But that pebble feeling turned into a tight burn across his arch. Then it became a stiffness that wouldn't go away. He started skipping his morning walks. Then his knees started hurting from how he was compensating. His balance became unsteady. And before long, Walter needed a cane just to get to the kitchen. It didn't happen overnight. It never does. That's the thing about foot pain at our age. It doesn't shout. It whispers. And if you ignore those whispers long enough, they can take away things you never expected. That's why I wanted to talk to you today, because this isn't just Walter's story. It could be mine. It could be yours. And I don't want you, or anyone you love, to find themselves losing their independence over something that could have been caught early. You see, after 70, your feet become more vulnerable than ever before. Years of walking, working, lifting, climbing stairs, wearing shoes that weren't always good for us, they all catch up. And if we're not paying attention, the signs can slip past quietly until it's too late. Now, I want to make one thing very clear. Foot pain is not just a part of getting older. That's a myth, a dangerous one. Pain is your body's way of saying something isn't right. And if we respond with care and curiosity, instead of brushing it off, we can often stop a small problem from becoming a lifelong limitation. Let's start with one of the most common but overlooked causes of chronic foot pain in older adults, plantar fasciitis. It's a fancy name, but I'm sure some of you already know it all too well. It usually starts with pain in the heel or the arch of the foot, especially during those first few steps in the morning. Walter had it, so did my neighbor, June. And it's sneaky because it doesn't always hurt while you're sitting or even standing. It strikes when you start to move. It's caused by inflammation in a thick band of tissue that runs along the bottom of your foot. And while it can happen at any age, after 60, especially after 70, our body becomes less flexible, and the little muscles and tendons that used to protect that tissue just don't spring back like they used to. But here's the good news. It's treatable. In many cases, it's even reversible. The key is recognizing it early, resting the foot when it flares up, and using supportive footwear, not those old, flat slippers we've worn since the 90s. Sometimes simple stretches can make a huge difference. I'll tell you one that worked for me a little later. Now, sometimes foot pain isn't in the heel. It creeps up in the toes. Maybe you've noticed that a few of your toes are starting to curl downward or feel cramped in your shoes. That could be the beginning of something called hammer toe or claw toe. It sounds unpleasant, and truthfully, it is. My Aunt Margie had this. She said it started when one of her toes would rub against her shoe. Just a little red spot, she said. But months later, that toe was stiff, bent, and painful. Her podiatrist told her that years of wearing narrow shoes and avoiding stretching her feet had taken a toll. You'd be surprised how many of us, especially women, have spent decades in shoes that were more fashionable than functional. But now is the time to give your feet the love they've earned. Wide, supportive shoes, toe stretches, and if you notice a little discomfort, don't ignore it. Something else many people don't talk about, tingling, burning, or numbness in the feet. I've heard it described like pins and needles, or like your socks are bunched up when they're not. That could be a sign of nerve issues, often related to something called peripheral neuropathy. For those of us managing diabetes or high blood pressure, this is especially important to look out for. Left untreated, it can quietly steal the sensation in your feet, making it harder to balance, harder to walk confidently, and more likely that you'll trip or fall. Walter told me one of his worst days wasn't the pain, it was the day he didn't even feel the gravel under his feet anymore. That scared him. So what can we do? The first step is awareness. Pay attention to your feet every day. When you sit down to put on your socks, take a moment. Look for any changes in color, swelling, shape or sensation. Move your toes, rotate your ankles, stretch your arches. Don't wait for pain to get your attention. Be proactive. The second step is support. That means the shoes you wear, the insoles you use, even something as small as switching from a hard, flat floor to a cushioned mat in your kitchen can relieve pressure on your joints. A friend of mine swears by her gel heel inserts, said they changed her life. And lastly, it means asking for help when you need it. Seeing a podiatrist isn't a sign of weakness, it's smart, it's caring, it's part of honoring the body that's carried you through so many years. Walter, by the way, is working on getting better. It's been a long road. He's got physical therapy twice a week, and he's slowly learning how to strengthen his feet again. I didn't think my toes mattered so much, he joked, but now I treat them like royalty. He's got new shoes, a foot roller, and a stretching routine that would make a yoga instructor proud. And you know what? He's smiling again, not because the pain is completely gone, but because he's taking back control. That's what I want for you too. So if you've felt that little ache, that tiny pinch, or that unexplained numbness, don't let it slide. Listen to your body and take one small step today to protect the freedom that comes with walking confidently into your next chapter. Now let's talk about something most folks don't like to admit: balance. You might think, oh, I'm still steady on my feet, and maybe you are. But if you've ever caught yourself reaching for the wall when getting out of bed, or hesitated before stepping off a curb, or avoided uneven ground out of fear you might trip, that's your body sending a quiet little warning. See, foot pain isn't just about discomfort. It changes how we move. When a part of your foot hurts, even just a little, your body adjusts to avoid the pain. You shift your weight, you walk differently, you lean to one side. It's subtle at first, but over time those little changes affect your knees, your hips, even your lower back. Walter told me something interesting the other day. He said, I didn't notice the pain as much as I noticed I was tired all the time. Why? Because when your body's constantly compensating, trying to protect one sore spot, it uses up extra energy. Muscles work harder, joints strain, even standing can become exhausting. That's why strengthening the feet isn't just about avoiding pain, it's about reclaiming your energy, your posture, your confidence in every single step. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you exercised your feet? Now, I'm not talking about walking from the living room to the kitchen. I mean real, intentional movement, stretches, rolls, toe lifts, ankle circles. If you're like most people, the answer is probably not in a while, but your feet have over 24 bones, more than 30 joints, and more than 100 muscles, tendons, and ligaments. They need attention just like your heart or your lungs. A simple habit I started a few years ago has made a world of difference. I sit in a sturdy chair, barefoot, and place a small towel on the floor. I try to scrunch the towel toward me using just my toes. Sounds silly, right? But it gently strengthens the arch, wakes up the muscles, and improves circulation. And the best part? You can do it while watching the evening news. Another thing that helps, something Walter's therapist recommended, is rolling the foot over a frozen water bottle. It massages the plantar fascia and reduces inflammation, especially at the end of the day when your feet feel warm and swollen. Easy, inexpensive, and strangely satisfying. And let's not forget our ankles. Tight ankles can affect your balance more than you'd think. A few slow ankle circles each morning, 10 in each direction, can help improve flexibility. Even tapping your toes up and down while you're seated keeps the blood flowing and the muscles engaged. You don't have to join a gym. You don't need fancy equipment, just a little time, a little consistency, and maybe a soft place to sit while you work on them. Now, there's another issue that often creeps in with foot pain, especially if it's left unaddressed for too long: fear. It sounds strange, but it's true. I've spoken with so many older adults who quietly carry this growing anxiety about falling. They don't say it outright, but you hear it in their stories. I don't go out as much anymore. I just shop online now. I stopped going to the park. Too many roots and cracks in the path. Fear of falling becomes its own kind of prison. And when we let it keep us from moving, from staying active, from enjoying the things we love, that's when independence starts slipping away. I remember visiting a friend's mother, Eleanor, who's 82. Her home was spotless, her mind sharp as ever. But she hadn't left the house in months. She had developed foot pain years before, ignored it, like so many do, and after a small fall in her kitchen, she started avoiding movement altogether. Her muscles weakened, her posture changed, she moved less, so she slept poorly, which made her even more tired. That's how quickly the cycle can start. Pain leads to less movement. Less movement leads to stiffness and weakness. That leads to more pain and fear, and the cycle just keeps going. But the amazing thing is, we can interrupt that cycle. Even small changes can open up big results. Walter, for example, started with just 5 minutes of stretching each morning. Then, when he felt ready, he walked down his driveway and back, just once a day. After a week, he added a trip to the mailbox. Eventually, with a walker at first, he made it around the block. Not fast, not fancy, but steady, proud. And do you know what else helped him along the way? Support. Not just from his physical therapist, but from his family. His daughter made sure he had shoes that actually fit his feet. His grandson helped him set up a little balance board in the garage for practice. And his wife reminded him, gently but firmly, not to skip his exercises, no matter how tempting it was to just sit and rest. That kind of support can be the difference between giving up and getting better. But let's say you live alone, or your family's far away. That's okay too. There are still ways to build a support system. Join a local senior walking group. Ask your doctor for a referral to a podiatrist or physical therapist. Even chatting with friends about your foot pain can open the door to shared tips, shared encouragement, and a sense of, I'm not in this alone, because you're not. Millions of people over 60 are facing similar challenges, many of them silently, but together we can change that. We can talk about it, learn from each other, and take steps, quite literally, toward stronger, healthier feet. Let me pause here for a moment and just say this from the heart. You deserve to move without fear. You deserve to walk across the room without wincing. You deserve to stand tall and steady, confident in your body, and proud of what it's done for you all these years. And it starts with one thing: not ignoring the signs. Your body is wiser than you know. It's always trying to talk to you. Sometimes with aches, sometimes with stiffness, sometimes just with a sense that something's not quite right. Listen to that voice, trust it, and answer it with care, not fear. Whether it's switching to better shoes, adding a stretch to your morning routine, checking in with a podiatrist, or simply lifting your toes while you sit and read, every small choice adds up. Every step matters. Walter told me something recently that stayed with me. He said, I thought losing the ability to walk would feel like a physical thing, like I'd be upset I couldn't get to the store or climb the stairs. But it wasn't that. It was the feeling of losing a part of who I am. That hit me, because it's true, isn't it? Mobility is more than just getting from one place to another. It's freedom, it's dignity, it's being able to get your own glass of water, answer your door, go to the bathroom without help. It's feeling like yourself. And when foot pain chips away at that, bit by bit, it affects everything. Not just your body, but your mood, your confidence, your sense of control. That's why today I want to talk to you not just about pain, but about possibility. Because no matter where you are right now, whether you're just starting to notice a little stiffness or you're already using a cane to get around, you are not stuck. Your body can still respond. Your muscles still want to move. Your joints still crave motion. And your spirit, well, that's stronger than you think. Now let's talk about circulation for a moment. As we age, blood flow to our extremities, especially our feet, naturally decreases. This can make healing slower and pain stick around longer than it used to. But there are simple, gentle ways to boost circulation that don't involve running a marathon. One of the best things you can do? Elevate your feet. After a long day, especially if you've been standing or sitting for hours, lie back and prop your legs up on a pillow. Even better, rest them against a wall for a few minutes while lying on your back. This lets gravity help your heart bring blood back from your lower limbs, easing swelling and fatigue. Foot massages, yes, even ones you give yourself, can also help a great deal. Use a tennis ball or a small roller under the arch of your foot and gently roll it back and forth. It stimulates blood flow, eases tension, and just plain feels good. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, that all sounds nice, but I've had pain for years. I've tried everything. And to that I say, don't give up. Sometimes what's needed isn't just a new solution, but a new mindset. I once spoke with a gentleman named Henry. He was 79, retired military, strong as an oak tree, but he'd developed a stubborn bunion on his right foot. For years he refused surgery. He avoided talking to doctors. He tried over-the-counter pads and homemade inserts. Nothing worked. Eventually the bunion pushed his big toe so far inward it threw off his entire balance. Finally, after a long talk with his daughter, he saw a podiatrist who specialized in older adults. They developed a simple care plan, not surgery, but gradual corrections, custom orthotics, physical therapy, and a set of easy exercises to open up his hips and knees, which had tightened from years of walking with that bunion. And after 6 months, he wasn't pain-free, but he was walking straighter, with less fear, with more peace of mind. I didn't need to feel young again, he told me. I just needed to feel like I had options again. That's what I want you to take away from this. You have options. Whether it's a new insole, a different kind of stretch, a consultation with a podiatrist, or just finally choosing to stop walking barefoot on hard tile floors, every choice is a step forward, a step toward comfort, toward strength, toward confidence. And speaking of shoes, can we talk about them for a minute? Because I know some of you still have that one pair. You know the ones I mean? Comfortable, familiar, broken in, maybe a little worn out, maybe a lot. Maybe the heel's leaning a little to one side or the sole's gone smooth as glass. Let them go, I know it's hard. But worn-down shoes are like worn-down tires. They might get you a little farther, but eventually they'll cause more harm than good. Supportive footwear, especially as we get older, isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Your shoes should cushion your heel, support your arch, and allow your toes to spread naturally. They should hold your ankles steady and reduce impact with each step. The right pair of shoes can literally change the way you feel from the ground up. My neighbor Helen, she's 68, used to get terrible burning pain in her toes after just an hour on her feet. She thought it was neuropathy. Turned out her shoes were a half size too small, and the narrow toe box was cutting off circulation. She switched to orthopedic sneakers with a wide fit and breathable mesh, and the pain disappeared within days. Sometimes the fix is simpler than we expect. Other times it's deeper. And for those deeper causes, arthritis, past injuries, even nerve damage, it's okay to ask for medical support. Whether that's through physical therapy, anti-inflammatory treatments, or minor interventions, there is no shame in getting help. In fact, it's brave. It's a decision that says, I matter, my comfort matters, my mobility matters. And if you're someone who's already been through a fall, or who's using a walker or cane right now, I want to say something especially for you. You haven't failed. Needing support doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. And just because you need help today doesn't mean you always will. Many people regain strength, flexibility, and balance when they start listening to their bodies and giving their feet the care they've needed all along. Walter is proof of that. Just last week, he made it all the way to the park bench by himself. No walker, no cane, just slow, steady steps and a whole lot of determination. His wife brought a little thermos of coffee, and they sat there, watching the kids run by, holding hands like they used to. He said it was the first time in almost a year he felt like himself again. That moment, that's the goal. Not running marathons, not climbing mountains, just being able to go where you want to go, to feel stable, to feel confident, to not worry if the floor is slippery or the sidewalk is uneven, to trust your body to carry you there. You can get there too. It won't happen in a day. It won't happen by accident, but it will happen with intention, with attention, and with a little patience. So, the next time you feel a twinge in your heel, a cramp in your arch, a numb spot in your toe, don't brush it off. Don't wait for it to go away. Don't let it grow into something that keeps you from living the life you deserve. Instead, pause, listen, act. Even if it's something as simple as flexing your toes before bed, or choosing shoes that truly fit, or writing down a question to ask your doctor at your next checkup. Those small steps, they add up. And someday soon you might just find yourself walking into your day with less pain, more strength, and a whole lot more joy. There's something deeply personal about our feet. They carry us through every chapter of life, from childhood play to first jobs, family vacations, late-night walks, long days on our feet, and quiet mornings in the garden. They've been there, step after step, without asking for much. And yet, as we grow older, it's often the part of us we think about the least, until they begin to hurt. Walter once joked, "I used to worry about my heart, my knees, my memory, but my feet never gave them a second thought. Now they're the boss of me." And he's right in a way, because when your feet hurt, everything becomes harder. Standing at the stove, making the bed, walking through the grocery store, simple things start to feel like climbing a hill with a pebble in your shoe. But here's the most important truth. It doesn't have to stay that way. Let's talk about strength. Not the kind you need to lift weights or run a race, but the quiet strength it takes to rebuild something slowly, to say, "I'm not giving up on this body, not yet." There are gentle, safe ways to build strength in your lower body, especially in the muscles that support your feet. And no, it doesn't mean doing squats or jumping jacks. I'm talking about chair exercises, wall support routines, things you can do in the comfort of your home, at your own pace, in whatever clothes you're comfortable in. One of the most effective exercises I've ever seen. Simple heel raises. Here's how it works. You stand behind a sturdy chair, holding the back for balance. Slowly lift your heels off the floor so you're standing on the balls of your feet. Then gently lower them back down. Do that 10 times, maybe 15. You'll feel your calves working, your ankles waking up, and your arches supporting the movement. It may not look like much, but it builds real strength where it counts. And if standing is too much for now, you can do it sitting down. Just raise your heels off the ground while your toes stay planted. You'll still engage the same muscles, and you'll still be doing something good for your balance and stability. Another great move, toe spreading. Sit comfortably, take off your socks, and simply try to spread your toes apart. Hold for a few seconds, then release. That motion, though small, helps wake up the tiny muscles between the toes and along the foot. Over time, it can reduce cramping and stiffness and even improve your posture. These kinds of exercises aren't about sweat or speed, they're about giving your body the attention it deserves. Now, I want to shift for a moment and talk about a feeling that often gets overlooked when we're dealing with pain, frustration. It's real, it's heavy, and it builds quietly. You wake up with good intentions. You want to go for a short walk or cook a healthy meal, or maybe just get the mail. But then that familiar pain returns, the tightness, the burning, the pressure, and you think, why bother? Maybe you sit back down. Maybe you tell yourself you're just being lazy. Maybe you get mad at yourself for not being stronger. I want you to stop right there and take a deep breath, because feeling frustrated doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It means you care. It means you still want more from your body and your life. And that's a beautiful thing, but give yourself grace too. Healing isn't a straight line. Some days you'll feel strong. Other days you'll feel discouraged. That's okay. What matters is that you don't let one bad day define the whole journey. What matters is that you keep showing up for yourself. Walter had days when he didn't want to get out of bed. Days when his heel throbbed before he even stood up. Days when he'd sit in his favourite chair, watching the sun rise through the window, wondering if he'd ever feel normal again. But he got up anyway. Even if all he did that day was one stretch, even if he only walked to the kitchen and back. He kept going, and slowly, the days got better. Not easier, always, but better. There's another part of this that we can't ignore, and that's nutrition. Yes, what you eat affects your feet. Inflammation, which is a big cause of foot pain, especially in conditions like plantar fasciitis, arthritis, and gout, is often linked to diet. Foods high in sugar, refined carbs, processed fats, those can quietly stoke inflammation in your joints and tissues. Walter used to love his nightly bowl of ice cream, a little treat after dinner. But after his podiatrist explained how sugar spikes can affect nerve sensitivity and joint swelling, he made a switch. Now he ends his day with frozen blueberries and a bit of Greek yogurt. Still sweet, still satisfying, but far easier on the body. Hydration is also a big piece of the puzzle. Our joints and muscles need water to stay flexible and cushion movement. Yet, many older adults, especially those who don't feel thirsty often, end up mildly dehydrated without realizing it. That can lead to stiffness, fatigue, even cramps in the feet and legs. So pour yourself that extra glass of water. Add a slice of lemon if you like. Think of it not just as a drink, but as medicine for your feet. And don't forget about magnesium and potassium, two minerals that help prevent muscle cramps and improve circulation. Bananas, avocados, leafy greens, nuts, even a small baked potato with the skin on, can all give your feet the nutrients they need to function better. You'd be amazed how a few small tweaks in your daily meals can translate into more comfort, less swelling, and greater mobility. Walter once said, "I didn't realize how connected everything was until I started paying attention." And that's the key, isn't it? Awareness, not fear, not guilt, not perfection, just a gentle kind of noticing. How do your feet feel when you wake up? What shoes make you feel steady? What foods leave you feeling lighter? What movement brings a smile to your face, even for a moment? These little reflections are where healing begins, because foot pain, at its worst, can make life feel smaller. But when you care for your feet, really care for them, your world starts to expand again. The walk to the mailbox becomes easier. The stroll through the park becomes possible. The flight of stairs doesn't feel like a mountain anymore. The idea of travel or visiting family doesn't seem quite so daunting. And more than anything, you begin to trust your body again. That trust is powerful. It's the difference between sitting on the sidelines and saying yes to life's invitations, between hesitation and joy. So if you're watching this and thinking, it's too late for me, please hear this. It's not. Your body hasn't given up on you, and you don't have to give up on it. Even one small choice made today can lead you somewhere better. Maybe you'll take off your shoes and stretch your toes. Maybe you'll order a new pair of supportive sneakers. Maybe you'll schedule that appointment you've been putting off for months. Maybe you'll simply rest your feet tonight, elevated and cared for, with a cool cloth and a quiet moment of appreciation for how far they've taken you. Whatever you do, know this. You're not alone. You're not broken. You're just at a point in the journey where your feet need a little more attention and a little more love. So Walter once told me, I used to think slowing down meant getting old, but now I realize slowing down is what lets me keep going. There's something wise in that, isn't there? We live in a world that's always rushing. Move faster. Get more done. But after 60, after 70, even after 80, our bodies ask us to take a different path, a slower one, more thoughtful one where we listen closely, where we give ourselves time, where we don't push through pain, but pause and respond to it. And that's not weakness, that's wisdom. When Walter finally started honoring that wisdom, everything began to shift. He stopped forcing himself through the pain, stopped ignoring the warning signs. He started walking shorter distances, but more often he stretched, even when he didn't feel like it. He kept his feet warm in the mornings, and he started talking openly with his doctor about what was working and what wasn't. That kind of honesty, it's powerful, because too many of us stay quiet when we're hurting. We don't want to complain, we don't want to be a burden. We tell ourselves, oh, it's just a little pain, or I don't want to bother anyone. But let me say this clearly, with all the warmth I can offer. You are never a burden for taking care of your health. You are never selfish for wanting to feel good in your own body. You matter, your comfort matters, your independence matters. And if no one has told you that lately, let this be your reminder. Let's talk for a moment about warmth, literal warmth. One of the simplest ways to ease foot pain, especially in the mornings or before bed, is with warm water. A short soak in a basin of warm, not hot, water with Epsom salts can work wonders. It relaxes muscles, improves circulation, and soothes inflammation. It's also a quiet ritual, a moment of care, a way to say to your body, I see you, I'm here for you. Even a warm compress on sore arches or stiff toes can loosen things up gently. Add a few drops of lavender or peppermint oil, and you've got something that feels as good for the soul as it does for the soles. And if you're someone who often wakes up with cold feet, that's no coincidence. Poor circulation can make feet feel icy even in warm rooms. Keeping your feet warm, even with soft socks at night, can help reduce cramping and stiffness by morning. But what about when pain flares up during the day? Here's something I tell everyone I meet. Pace yourself. Foot pain often increases when we push too hard all at once. You don't need to do everything in one trip. Break up tasks. Sit down when you can. Take your time walking to the car. Use shopping carts not just to carry groceries, but to steady yourself. There's no race, no finish line, just your life, lived comfortably, step by step. And when sitting, prop those feet up. Reduce pressure. Let them rest, because rest isn't laziness, it's healing. Walter keeps a small stool under his desk now, puts his feet up whenever he's reading the paper or watching the Weather Channel. He says it helps more than any pill ever did, and some days when he's feeling extra sore, he gives himself permission to do less. And on days when he feels stronger, he walks a little farther, he stretches a little longer, but he never punishes himself for what he can't do. That's another lesson, isn't it? Being kind to yourself, because healing isn't just about the body, it's about the mind too, and nothing slows down healing like guilt, shame, or self-blame. You are doing your best, your body is doing its best, and sometimes the most healing thing you can do is to meet your body exactly where it is with compassion. That's how Walter got through his toughest stretch, not with big dramatic changes, but with small, consistent choices. He learned to pay attention, he learned to care, he learned to ask for help and to accept it. And now, at 76, he's still walking. Not like he used to, not fast, not far, but he walks with dignity, with less pain, and most importantly, with pride, because he fought for that freedom. And so can you. Maybe your story won't look like Walter's. Maybe your pain is different or your situation is more complex. That's okay. The point isn't to follow someone else's path, it's to start your own. Start by noticing how your feet feel right now. Wiggle your toes, flex your ankles, take a slow breath and really listen. Is there tightness, tenderness, numbness, warmth, coolness? All of these are clues. None of them are signs to fear, but signs to pay attention to. Then ask yourself gently, what's one small thing I can do today to help my feet feel better tomorrow? Is it switching to better shoes? Is it calling your doctor? Is it doing 5 slow heel raises by the counter? Is it soaking your feet before bed? Or maybe it's simply letting go of the idea that foot pain is just part of aging. Because it's not. It's part of the conversation your body is trying to have with you. And the more you listen, the more you respond with care, the more you'll discover just how much is still possible. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are not broken. You are capable. You are resilient. And your body, even with its aches and limitations, is still yours to honor, to support, to strengthen. So take that first step, however small it might be, and know that each one after it becomes just a little easier. There's a quiet kind of bravery in choosing to keep going when things get hard. in listening to your body even when it whispers in discomfort, in choosing care over silence, action over resignation. And that's what this journey has really been about, hasn't it? Not just foot pain, not just a sore heel or a tender toe, but what those little pains mean, what they take away if we don't pay attention, and more importantly, what we can reclaim when we do. Walter taught me that, not through speeches or big declarations, but through steady, patient persistence. He didn't let the pain win. He didn't let a setback define his future. He faced it, step by step, with help, with hope, and with heart. And today, I want to speak to that same part of you, the part that still dreams of walking confidently down your driveway, or strolling through the park without worry, or dancing slowly in the kitchen with someone you love. That part of you is still alive, still strong, still waiting for its chance to rise. But none of that starts with a miracle cure. It starts with a decision to care, a decision to stop ignoring what your body is trying to say, a decision to treat your pain not as something shameful or inevitable, but as a signal, a starting place, a gentle nudge toward something better. You deserve comfort, you deserve strength, you deserve to feel steady and free and proud of the body that has carried you through decades of living. Maybe no one told you that lately, so I will. You are not too old to get better. You are not too far gone to improve. You are not meant to simply endure your days. You are meant to enjoy them. And that starts with your feet. Because when your feet feel better, your whole life opens up again. The world gets a little wider. Your energy stretches further. That short walk to the mailbox feels like a victory. That trip to the grocery store, possible again. And those quiet moments where you stand tall in your kitchen or move with ease through your home, they return, not by accident, but by your effort, by your care. I know it isn't easy. There will be hard days. There may be pain that lingers longer than you'd like, or routines that feel boring, or changes that test your patience. But let those moments be what they are, moments, not the end of your story, because your story is still being written. And every time you soak your feet, or stretch your toes, or ask for help, or choose rest over strain, or take that slow, careful step forward, you are writing a new chapter, one of courage, of healing, of quiet strength. Walter may never run again. He may never hike like he used to, but he can walk beside his wife now. He can sit on the porch with a smile on his face. He can walk across the room without help. And most of all, he feels like himself again. And that, more than anything, that sense of self, that's what we're fighting for. So if today is a good day, celebrate it. And if today is a hard day, don't give up. Just do one kind thing for your feet, one small gesture of care, one small choice to stay connected with the body that's carried you through a lifetime of memories. And tomorrow, do it again, because healing isn't a sprint, it's a rhythm, a quiet, loving rhythm between you and your body. You've walked through so much in your life, far more than most people will ever know. Now it's time to walk into the next chapter with the same courage, the same heart, and the same belief that something better is possible. So take a deep breath, wiggle your toes, and take that first gentle step forward. You've got this, and your best days, they're still ahead. If this story resonated with you, if you saw yourself in Walter's journey, or if you've been quietly managing your own pain, I want to invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. You never know who might be encouraged by your story. And if this video helped you, even in some small way, go ahead and click like. It helps us reach more people who might need this kind of support. And if you want more content like this, gentle, empowering, and practical for your stage of life, don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Because here on this channel, we're building a community where aging doesn't mean fading. It means rising, wiser, stronger, and more connected than ever before. Here's to comfort, to confidence, to steady, joyful steps. Here's to you. And here's to living your best life at any age.